Okay, um, so today we're gonna see um, these topics, the module one, section two, cloud economics. Okay, we're gonna be talking about pricing and all those things that have to do with moving to the cloud and what it costs, the tools that you can use for migrating and knowing how much it's gonna take, how much money it's gonna take for you guys to migrate to the cloud. If you have a business and um, you need to save some money, okay? So what we're gonna do in this module, we're gonna see the fundamentals of pricing. Pricing has um, a heavy weight in the exam. It's one of the most confusing parts of the exam because you have to know the hour. I mean the how your bill, if it is by the hour, by the second, if it is monthly, if it is yearly in case of contracts. So sometimes it tend to be a little confusing. Confusing. Um, we also going to see about the total cost of ownership. We talked about that on Monday, but today we're going to see it a little bit more, closely. Okay. Now, the overview of this module, we're going to review and understand the service pricing philosophy and the elements of the cloud total cost of ownership. Understand the AWS pricing philosophy, review fundamental pricing characteristics, and understand the elements of total cost of ownership. That's gonna be your understanding upon completing this module. Okay, so the fundamentals of AWS pricing. Um, when you talk to people about the pricing in AWS, it blows their mind away because AWS has a different concept to the concept that we are used to, uh, hearing. And they came up with a very good and very witty and smart way to build customers, and that's why they have millions and millions of customers because they're not greedy. There are many businesses that are they think about making money more than anything. But I think that guys, you got yesterday. You got. I think it was a material about the principles, the leadership principles of AWS. Did you get that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The first principle of all is customer obsession. So AWS is simply obsessed with customers. And that's why they have made things easier and simpler for customers when it comes to billing. Okay. So the three fundamental drivers of cost with AWS is compute, storage, and outbound data transfer. What is the meaning of that? It means that you as a customer are going to be charged only for compute, storage, and outbound data transfer. That's it. No more than that. Okay? That's something that you have to have clear for your exam. Incoming data transfers are not charged. They're free. The only things that you're going to be charged for is compute, storage, and outbound data transfer. Okay? So in most cases, there's no charge for inbound data transfer and data transfer between services within the same region. So if there's transfers within the same region in your same infrastructure, there's no charge either. Okay, so why there's some exceptions. So to be sure to verify that transfer rates before you begin to use the AWS services. That's something that when migrating to the cloud, a business owner has to understand what they're going to be charged for. And they have to understand that whatever transfer goes out, they're going to be charged for that. But incoming transfers are not charged. Very important for your exam. It looks simple, but it may be a little confusing in your exam because let me tell you something. AWS is mean when it comes to the exam. They're mean. They try to confuse you all the time, and make you think something is right and it's completely wrong.
I have
Okay?
a question. This is Ciara. So
Yeah.
even though like on the slide it says in most cases there's no charge, which means there are exceptions, still if on the exam says like what are the 4 areas that you would be charged something and it says compute, storage, outbound data transfer, and inbound data transfer, we would just have to make sure to choose the first 3.
Okay. In most cases, there's no charge. When it's in most cases, I would say probably 99% of the times, because you may have some data transfer that has a lot of content, a lot of data, and you may incur in some charges because it has a lot of information that is coming in. But most of the time, it's only outbound transfers only.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? That's the main thing. Now, AWS pricing policy. Okay, that's these are the 4 main components of the policy of pricing policy of AWS. Okay, pay for what you use. If you don't use it, you don't pay for it. That's the good thing. Pay less when you reserve. We have 2 contracts that are not mandatory. It's just an option because AWS has something called reserved instances. You can reserve your EC2 instances, your servers, for either 1 year or a 3-year contract. So if you reserve because you know that your traffic is predictable throughout the year, you can reserve your servers for 1 year. And if you think that it happens every single year, you can reserve it for 3 years. There's no 2-year contract. It's either 1 year or 3 year. That's it. But the more you reserve, the more you save. You save. Now in the next slides, we're gonna see how much you can save when you reserve. Okay. You pay less when you use more. So the more you buy, the less you pay. It's like any business model. Buy one and get one 50% off, or buy one and get one free. Okay, they're still making money when they have those offers, but it is good for customers, right? So the more you use, the more you use, the more you pay. The less you pay. I'm sorry. And as AWS grows and grows and grows, they have this, what we talked about in our first class, their massive economies of scale. Remember that as they grow and grow and grow, they can afford to give more discounts to customers because the influx of customers coming in AWS gives them the opportunity to reduce the price, like they've done for 14 years. They have been reducing the price many times. Okay, so don't forget, pay for what you use, pay less when you reserve, pay less when you use more, and pay even less as AWS grows. Very important. Don't forget those 4 components of the pricing policy of AWS. Okay, this philosophy has not changed for 14 years, and I don't think it's going to change because AWS is doing very well. It's doing very well with their customers. It's doing very well with their revenues, and with the technology it's state of the art. It's always there on point. So don't forget that for your exam. Okay. Okay, so let's break it down one by one. So pay for what you use. You pay only for the services you consume with no large upfront expenses. So with AWS, you don't have to start with money. You can start with no upfront, zero upfront. Okay. But remember, when you buy a car, what happens if you don't give any down payment? Are your payments gonna be lower if you don't give any down payment?
No.
No.
But if you give some down payment, it's supposed to decrease the payments, right?
Mhm.
Right? The same with AWS. You can start for zero money, but you're gonna lose you're gonna miss out on the benefits of getting some discounts. And we're talking about huge discounts, right? So you have lower variable costs. You're gonna adapt to changing business needs, and the benefits of that. You can really focus on innovation and invention because you don't have to worry about any maintaining or any any patching of any servers or like I'm concerned because I'm being charged every day for these services. No, no, no. If I'm not using it, I'm not gonna be charged. So I can concentrate on my business innovation and my customers, and forget about that. That is taken care of. So that's something that is a given. So I don't have to worry about that. So
Uh,
that's
Teacher, I have a
go,
question.
go ahead.
When you say that you no are focused to patching your server, you refer to the firmware or BIOS or the server parameter, but you are responsible to patch your operating system, like Windows Update, right?
Yeah, that's right. But patching or other managed services. When we get to manage on a managed services in AWS, for the ones that can you mute your phone, please, your microphone, please? So when the service is managed by AWS, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so you don't have to worry about anything that you should manage when you are on premises, right?
Okay.
So yes, when you have servers, you have to patch it and all that, but AWS provides the servers for you. It's in a physical location, so you don't have to worry about maintaining those servers. So what you can do, it's focus on customers more than anything else and make your business better. So you don't have to worry about and but in this case, we're not talking about. I just mentioned servers because that's one of the ways that AWS helps. But in this case, we're talking about paying and billing. That you don't have to worry about being charged when you're not using something. So you can focus on something else that is more important at the moment. Okay, so pay less when you reserve. So you can invest in reserved instances, but what is the use case of reserved instances is when your traffic is predictable. So you know that you're gonna have a steady traffic for a year or 3 years, whatever time it's gonna happen. So you can go ahead and reserve instances. Of course, you're gonna save up to 75% of the price. That's a lot of money. 75%. You don't have to know the original price to know that you're saving a lot of money. The 75% is a huge percentage. Okay. So you have three options. You have all upfront reserved instances, also known as ORI, and you have the largest discounts. You have partial upfront reserved instances, PURI, lower discounts, and you have no upfront payments reserved instances, NURI, smaller discounts. So you always gonna get discounts, always. So even if you start with no upfront payments, AWS already has discounted the price. So that's a huge advantage. But the more you reserve, the less you pay. Don't forget that. So if you go with partial upfront, you're gonna get, I think it is like 25% discount, and then you get all upfront, you get like 75% discount.
I have a question. This is Ciara. Why would they discount the no upfront payment reserve instead?
Remember what I said. I don't know if I said it in my class or in my afternoon class, that since 2006, AWS has decreased the price 67 times.
Yeah.
So still you're gonna get discounts, right? When they reduce the price, you're already getting a discount compared to other providers.
I understand. Okay, thanks.
So the price is always gonna be low, but the more you reserve is gonna be, I mean, the lower it's gonna be. So in this case, you get a smaller discount. You still get a discount because you are using AWS services, but you're missing out on the big discounts that are in the upfront, upfront fees.
And in the case of Ari, you could only maximize that discount for the 3 year, up to 3 years reserve. So like every 3 years, you would have to renew.
Correct. It's 1 or 3 years.
Okay. Thanks.
I have a question. This is Maria. So the difference between ORI and NORI and PURI is the fact that in ORI, and correct me, ORI you are paying upfront, is that right? Versus yes. NORI, which you pay when you use it.
Correct.
But it's a reserve instance. Is that correct?
Correct. So with this, you can reserve, but you don't pay anything up front.
With NORI. That's
right. So with this, you can reserve, but then you pay all up front. You pay everything when you just enter the contract. Okay?
And that's with the ORI, what they call ORI, right? So that's you pay up front, you reserve, and you can do that for up to 3 years.
Correct. It's like when you have car insurance, right? You can pay monthly, or you can pay the 6 months premium, right?
So you get a discount for the, okay,
that's right.
I see.
That's right. So if you pay on a monthly basis, you're gonna have some, I think they have some service fees and that you have to pay every month. It's like, for example, my case in Geico, with Geico, I have to pay $5 every month if I pay monthly. But if I pay the 6 months premium all up front, I'm gonna get 0 service fees. So they waive the service fee. Okay. So when you reserve and you pay all up front, AWS goes like and it says this guy is reserving and the money is on my side and not their side. So I have the money already. Let me give this guy some discounts, okay? Because the money is already in my hands, right? But when the customer decides to pay on a monthly basis, on a contract, of course, if you break the contract, you may have some consequences when it comes to billing, right? And it's a contract. You're gonna like any other contract in life. But this is only when you know that your traffic is predictable, right? If you have some peaks in at a specific on specific days and in the year, like holidays only, I recommend going with on-demand instances, right? On demand, which is for unpredictable patterns. This is for predictable patterns. For the on-demand instances are only for peaks, unpredictable peaks, because this year, 2020, you may have a good wave of sales in your business during Independence Day, but probably last year it wasn't that good. So that's not predictable. So for that, I can use on-demand instances. But if I know that every single year for 10 years in a row, I always have a good amount of traffic on Independence Day or throughout the year, I can do some reserved instances and I'm gonna save up to 75% depending on the upfront fees that I just pay. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Benefits. So very important. One of the questions in your exam may be that you have to pay upfront fees when you reserve instances. Very important. That you may think, oh, I remember Ori and Puri. Okay, yes. No. How about Nuri? I don't need to pay upfront payments. I don't need money to start with AWS. When I talk about money, I'm talking about upfront money. You know, you will have to pay eventually, right? Because you're using the services. You have to pay eventually, but you don't have to start with money. You can reserve, and then you will pay, um, whatever contract uh, points you decided with AWS. Okay. Um, Predictable managed budgets, comply with policies that require longer term commitments. In this case, we're talking about 1 year or 3 years commitment. Okay, so pay less by using more. So everybody knows that, especially in a consuming society, that the more you buy, the more incentives you're gonna get from businesses, right? From retail stores, from restaurants. Sometimes for restaurants, but it's a business model that customers get incentives when they buy more. AWS is not the exception. So when you buy in volume, volume-based discounts, purchases, you get discounts. So you get savings as your usage increases. Like we said before, the more you use, the less you pay, right? They have some tier pricing for services. For example, Amazon S3, EBS, EFS. The more you use, the less you pay per gigabyte. These are, when you talk about Amazon S3 and EBS, Elastic Block Store, and EFS, Elastic File System, and S3 Simple Storage Service, these are storage services, the three of them. So they are billed by gigabyte, by storage measurements. So the more you use, the less you pay. That's you see, it sounds a little crazy, and it blows my mind away when I think about it, because and most things in life, the more you use, the more you pay, right? Because if I use for example, let's say if I use your services, you're a business. If I use your services, I'm gonna pay. But if I use your services again, I'm gonna pay more because I'm using your services 2 times. But in the case of AWS, they brought this amazing model that you're gonna use it again, then you're gonna pay less, right? Because you're using it 2 times instead of 1. So this is the tier pricing for services. Why does he have a tier pricing? Because when we see S3, for example, S3 has different storage classes. We have we have standard S3, we have infrequently accessed S3, we have one zone S3, we have Glacier S3, we have intelligent tiering S3. So every class has its benefits. So depending on the storage class that you choose, that's what you're gonna pay for. So that's why it says here tier pricing, because they have divided the prices into different tiers for that particular service. But we're gonna see that when we get to storage. Okay, that's gonna be another module. Like we said before, data transfer in is always free. Okay, and there's some instances, in most cases, like we said before, but it's virtually free because you don't have to pay for that. Okay, so multiple storage services deliver lower storage costs based on needs, right? When we have multiple services that store information, you may get lower prices because we're using more, like we said before. This is just the main point. The bottom line of this slide is the more you use from AWS, the less you're gonna pay. That's the main point here. So what are the, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, this is Oscar. So a couple of questions on that one. First one, so this is regarding storage. So first question is, what about bundling different categories? So say you want X service from the storage category, X Y service from the security category, and Z service from the platform category. Okay.
Well, so, most of the security part is free. Okay. For example, VPCs, virtual private clouds, is free. Encryption is free. So there are many things that are free in AWS. For example, IAM, identity and access management, is free. Whatever has to do with users, administrators, organizations, accounts, all that is free. Okay. But in this case, we're talking about storage, but you can combine different services together. Okay. In this case, they're being specific with the storage, but in AWS, when you say pay less by using more, it doesn't refer to a specific category like storage only.
Okay.
The more you use, the less you pay. That's for the entire AWS.
Okay. I was thinking, and that was my second question, that probably, and again, this is an intelligent way of making things, work for you to be incentive to transact more. So I give you discount on storage because I know that if you purchase storage, it's because most probably you're gonna transact quite a lot more, and if you transact more, you may need hence more platform and more infrastructure, hence more costs. So I mean, at the end is I mean, Amazon is I mean, there are no stupid folks, right? So they know they're not gonna be wasting money by discounts. If they give you this, it's because they know they're gonna get a lot of money from the other side. Okay. I guess that's the model, right? I assume.
Yes. So let's say that you're using Amazon S3 only, right? Okay. You're using Amazon S3. You're using a lot, you're using it more, by using only one service, right? But what if I use S3 and EBS, like the slide says? I'm gonna save more money than if I use S3 only. You know what I mean? If it is only one service, you're gonna pay for that service, right? You're still getting discounts because the price is ridiculously low, right? But if you use another storage service that you're not using one, you're using two services. So you're gonna save more than if you use only one.
Yeah, no. In terms of storage, I get it. My question is, I assume, and again, we haven't got into that. I assume you will get into that. This is about, the overall pricing, for Amazon Web Service.
Correct.
The overall pricing will not be only about storage, I assume. There will be pricing for transaction, pricing for, policy setting, pricing for, you name it. So if I encourage you and incent you to use more storage because I give it to you virtually free if you add more storage services, is because I expect I'm going to get much more money from other type of services.
That's right. But don't forget something. Don't forget something. You're going to be charged only for three things: compute, storage, and outbound transfers. That's it.
Okay.
Right? So all this pricing model, spins around those three components: storage, outbound transfer, and compute. Right?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so data transfer in, multiple storage service, deliver lower. Okay, what are the benefits of this? Choosing the right combination of storage options helps you reduce cost while preserving performance, security, and durability. Performance is you have to be careful when you combine all these services. You have to be smart enough to preserve these three components, these 3 points: performance, security, and durability. Performance, you have to provide customers with a good user experience. If performance is poor, you're gonna lose customers, right? So 1%, if you lose 1% of customers, you're gonna lose a lot of money, especially for AWS that has so many customers. You lose 1% because of performance, you're gonna lose a lot of money, right? So security, security it's a big concern among businesses. Security, it's super serious, and AWS takes it very, very seriously. You have to preserve that, and durability, you have to make sure that your data is there every time the customer needs it. So it has to be durable. Even though S3 offers an 11 nines durability, so 99.99999 11 nines, which means that in 10,000 years, you're going to lose it only one time. So that's a huge durability. Even though that happens, you have to make sure that you preserve that, okay? When you make these combinations of services together, okay? Remember, there's what we saw in the first class, there's a shared responsibility model where AWS is responsible for some stuff and then you're responsible for others. So we pay even less as AWS grows. As AWS grows, it focuses on lowering costs of doing business. AWS is obsessed with customers. They want you with them. So they're going to do everything that it takes for you to be there. Okay. So this brings as a result passing savings from economies of scale to you. Remember, one of the 6 benefits of the cloud is massive economies of scale. Okay, and this happens when AWS grows, right? So, like I've said before, is almost someone asking a question?
See here.
Okay, so since 2006, AWS has lowered the price 67 times. Can you believe that? Do you know any business that has lowered their prices 67 times for 14 years in a row?
That's unbelievable.
That's quite amazing, right? 14 years in the business, 14 years in business, and they have lowered the price 67 times. And it continues to lower the price. I don't know. I mean, there has to be a limit, right? They're not gonna get to zero. So what's the point? They're not. But there has to be.
Question. It's
Yeah, go ahead.
Was the price lowering due to like market testing or cost efficiencies, or like we don't know really what the drivers were in each instance? It's just a factual statement that they lowered the pricing that many times.
They lower the price because they've been growing and growing and growing, and in their pricing policy, like we saw in a couple of slides before, one of the points in their pricing policy is that you pay even less as AWS grows. That's the concept they have. That's the policy they have. We're growing, then we reduce the price. It's what blew my mind away when I heard about AWS for the first time. And even my students, when we were a class professor, I don't understand AWS. Well, that's their model. That's the business model. That's their pricing policy. We grow, we reduce the price. Okay. I haven't been able to compare how much was something before, how much it is now. But they have lowered the price 67 points, and that is documented. Okay. That is documented by AWS itself. Okay, and they're getting more and more customers. So I believe that people, before they jump into the cloud, they do some research, to know if that what they're saying is true. I'm not gonna go with this statement only. I mean, you have lowered your price 67 times. I want to have a consultant. I want to have an architect or someone that knows, a business consultant from your business, so they can talk to me and show me the differences in price throughout the years. I want to see how much you have lowered the price, and I want to see if this is going to continue, because that's a huge benefit if it continues. But I think that this is going to stop one day. I mean, they're not stupid. They don't want to lose money. You know, they want to make money, but they don't want to get it to a point when it is almost zero. No, it has to end one day. But so far, they have been able to afford a reduction of price 67 times because of their massive scales of economy. They're bringing more customers. And when you see this, but because when you migrate to the cloud, you don't just blindly migrate to the cloud. You're going to have consultants. You're going to talk to people from AWS. So they have to come to your business, explain to you how it's going to be. You have to apply the total cost of ownership. You have to know how much I'm going to pay if I migrate. You have to know, you have to train my staff to be able to work with AWS. I have to get to know the cloud as much as possible, become an expert if it is possible. I need to be convinced that the cloud is for me, okay? And pricing plays a major role when you move to the cloud, right? And you have to prove to me that this price is competitive compared to the other cloud providers, right? And they can back up this statement. And it's amazing when I see this, you know, 67 times, it's amazing. For a business person, if you try to understand this statement, that's a huge undertaking. That's amazing, simply amazing. So we continue. Guys, if you have any questions, you can interrupt me. I know that this is not my style of teaching. I mean, talking. I don't like to lecture. I like to have interaction with students, but like I said before on the first class, that we only have 3 hours, so I cannot afford to have more questions. Maybe one day that the PowerPoint is slow, we can have a discussion or something like that. But I hope that you're taking notes and trying to understand everything that I'm saying. This is one of the disadvantages of teaching online and having a class online, that there's not much interaction between the students and the professors, especially when the class is too short. Okay, I like more the in-person thing, you know, in class, to have more interaction with students and questions and answers. But you know, so if you have any questions, you can interrupt me. You can, Professor, I have a question, so I can answer your questions. Okay, so we continue.
So Dunievsky,
Go ahead.
Have you, Oscar, again. On the last point, I thought you were going to mention something about that. You know, does it mean that innovation comes at no additional cost, you know, for the customer? Meaning, what happens? I mean, you're saying here higher performing resources. So let's say that, you know, EC2 is changed in, you know, a couple of years' time by EC2 plus. Let's put it this way, okay? Because it's a more powerful, you know, way of computing, you know, with you know, whatever, you know, technology it is. Mm-hmm. So you're basically saying, you know, there's no extra charge, or on their mind will not be an extra charge.
Yes,
that's okay, because it's an evolution of an actual service.
Yes.
In your experience, you know, what has happened, you know, when they've added additional services? Haven't they set a new pricing for them?
Okay.
Additional charge?
Okay. They have made several changes to the resources. For example, if you take a look at the console, at the management console right now, you take a look at the management console 5 years ago, they have changed the UI, the entire presentation of the console, and it improves the performance of AWS's platform, right? The customers were not charged for that. You're not charged for using a better platform, right? And I think that's common for every business, that when you update your platform, you don't charge the customers for that, right? You usually charge the customers.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm.
And also they have increased little by little. They have increased, like for example, for EC2 instances, they have increased the instance types to offer more power to the EC2 instances, and that comes to no cost to you. The change comes to no cost to you, what they are, add services. But if you decide to change your instance type, you're gonna pay for that, right? So they have improved the performance of resources without charging any customer, and I think that that's nothing out of this world, because that's any business could do that. It's just a
Yeah.
point. This is not something new. This is something that they do like any other business.
Yeah.
They just replace services and improve the performance and add new things to your to the platform or AWS, and you don't have to pay for anything.
No new functionality either, right? I mean, that was my question. Again, in the past years, you may have seen new services, completely brand new services being launched. They haven't added even additional cost.
There are additional functionalities that are free, but there are additional functionalities that you have to pay for them. Okay, depending on how many resources they use, depending on that. But for example, in when you have it's EC2 CloudWatch, for example, CloudWatch has both basic and enhanced monitoring. The basic is free, right? The basic is free, but you have to pay for the enhanced one. So they have added components for security, for example, that are free, and you don't have to pay for it. But when it comes to instance types, more power, it uses more resources because you're using more CPU in your EC2 instances. But they have added a lot of features to your to the platform, AWS platform, to improve performance that are not, you don't have to pay for them. They're free. Okay. But throughout the years, they've added features that you do have to pay for.
Okay.
Right. As you get into the services, you can compare the services right now and the services probably last year or a few years ago. For example, before, I think it was November, when they created a new type of instance, a new type of billing instances. For example, before it was on-demand instances, it was spot instances, it was reserve instances, and dedicated hosts. Right now, they have a fifth one. They have savings plans that they created in November that gives you even more discounts. When we get to that point, I added that to this PowerPoint because it was not in the exam before, but you may be surprised because it's been in the market in the AWS platform for quite a while now. So it may be included in the exam. So you need to know about that. So I added it to the slides for you to have an idea that there's a new way of billing EC2 instances. That's going to come to a cost if you choose the savings plans, okay? But you're still saving more because it name says it, savings plan, okay? But that's it. That's the way it is. They have improved the platform, improving performance. Some come with the cost, and others don't, depending on the service that you're using. Any other questions? Okay, so AWS realizes that every customer has different needs. So in none of the AWS pricing models work for your project, what you have to do is it's talk to AWS, and they have custom pricing and for high volume projects with unique requirements. So maybe what AWS presents doesn't fit your model, your business model. They can customize it to your needs. So AWS has, and then it has your back. So it will be ready for anything that customers need. Okay. That's what these slides it's mainly saying. So the AWS free tier. I don't know if you guys had got a material on the free tier and what is free in AWS. Did you get it? You guys get it?
We did. I did.
Yes, yes, I did.
So, for example, you get like 750 hours EC2 hours every month, right? So you can use, in this class, we can use EC2 for 750 hours and we're going to be okay. Okay. We're not going to be charged. So the free tier is only for new customers. In your case, you created your your free tier account. That was one of the assignments on the first class. That's going to be for a year. It says up to a year because you may decide to close it before the year. Okay. But it's only for new customers after a year. If you want to have another free account, you will have to open a different one with a different email and a different phone number. Okay.
Can I ask a question? It's Ciara. So yesterday when I was reading through the free, like what's free, they had like on the side, you can classify different things. So they would have free trials, free for up to 12 months. And then they had something that said always free. So for the always free pieces, that's still only limited to a year?
No, it's always free.
Okay.
It's always free. I have to take a look at that, but if it says always free, it's always free. I have to take a look at that because some services are always free. For example, everything that has to do with identification, like users, groups, roles, all that, IAM, it's always free. Networking, it's free for the most part. Okay. So we have to take a look at particular service and know what it is free. For example, in the case of Lambda functions, Lambda has like, I think it's 1 million requests for free. And then after the 1 million, and I'm sure you're not going to use 1 million in your free tier account. After 1 million, 1 million is 20 cents. That's ridiculously low. 20 cents, 1 million requests after the first million for free. That's amazing. That's why many companies are using Lambda instead of EC2. Okay, and I will explain later when we get to compute services. We'll talk about that. So the limitations are applicable to only certain services and options. So everything is not free. No charge. These are the services that are not charged. Okay. So very important. You have to know that because you may have a question in the test that is trying to confuse you and ask you about, for example, Elastic Beanstalk. You know, Elastic Beanstalk is free, okay? But the resources that you create with Elastic Beanstalk may not be free, okay? Because Elastic Beanstalk, what is Elastic Beanstalk? It's a platform as a service. It's platform as a service. You upload your code, and what happens when you upload your code? It creates servers. It creates other resources that are not free, okay? And EC2 instance is 750 hours per month in your free account. But after that, EC2 is not free, right? Those are limitations. And what is the purpose of a free account? It's just for you guys to play and get to know the AWS console. You know, that's the benefit, the main benefit of the free tier account for 12 months. But EC2 is not free. It's not free, right? It's a server that is running, right? If it is not running, you don't pay for it. If it is running, you pay for it, right? So you may create an EC2 instance, a server. Like we said, EC2 is a virtual server in the cloud. You may create a server with Elastic Beanstalk. So Elastic Beanstalk as a platform is free, right? But the resource that you create with Elastic Beanstalk is not free. Amazon VPC is not working. It's not paid for. It's free. So virtual private cloud is free. IAM, identity and access management, is free. You create a user, you create a role, you create a group, you create passwords, you create policies, You create all that. That is free, completely free, right? But for example, well, cloud consolidated billing is free too. So you can have, when you have an organization, and we're gonna see organizations later. When you have an organization that you have several accounts in your owner of several accounts. For example, you can have an account for HR. You can have an account for accounting. You can have an account for developers, an account for database administrators. Those accounts, instead of being billed for one account and billed for another account, you can build the root account, the one that is on top of those accounts. Is like a hierarchy, like a tree, where you have the root account, which is the one that you have now. The one that you have now is the root account. You can create several organizational units. When we get there, we're gonna see that. And inside the organizational units, you have different accounts, okay? And then you can have a consolidated billing, one bill only for the entire organization. So that's free, right? You don't get charged for getting a bill at home. You have to pay for the bill, you know, but you don't get charged for having a bill. Right? The same thing here. Now, CloudFormation, it's infrastructure as a code. So you can create security groups, you can create VPCs, you can create auto scaling, you can create elastic load balancers, you can create servers, you can create IAM users, you can create everything with code. Okay, with code. That's why I asked you guys to download the VS Code IDE. Remember in the assignment? Because VS Code is the platform that we're gonna use to create resources. I'm gonna show you how to create resources with code, okay? So CloudFormation is free, but you creating resources with CloudFormation, those resources may have charges associated with them, okay? Automatic scaling is not paid for, it's free, but for automatic scaling, you have to use what? If you remember when we talk about, did we talk about automatic scaling in our last class?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
With what service do we use automatic scaling? What do we scale? What do we scale?
The resources of
Servers.
EC2.
The EC2 instances, right?
Right.
So the EC2 instance, don't forget that. An EC2 instance is a server in the cloud, right? So if our demand is high, what do? We scale out. We increase the number of resources. Auto scaling is free, but when you increase, using auto scaling, you increase the number of EC2 instances, that incurs a charge because you're creating another server, right? But auto scaling is free. Now, AWS OpsWorks is an automation service that is free too. It's similar to CloudFormation, but this is for automation. Is different in that regards. But whatever resources you create with OpsWorks, you have to pay for them if they have a charge associated with that. Okay, so do you understand this point? Why they're free, and it has some stars next to it? Do you guys understand?
I'm sorry, what is OpsWorks again?
It's an automation service for automation. Okay.
Automation of what? Running a service or
automation of services. Yeah, like you.
Oh, resources. Okay.
Resources. You don't have to do anything manual. It's for automation. You're gonna have. I think you guys are gonna have as an assignment to watch a little video on OpsWorks. Okay.
Basically, they give you the tools for manage your resources.
Yeah, you can create EC2 instances using OpsWorks as well. Okay, but don't worry about that. You need to know that only. OpsWorks is for the developer and the DevOps certifications.
Scripting.
I'm sorry?
I say that OpsWorks is like for scripting.
For what?
For coding.
Scripting.
Not
For
necessarily.
scripting.
Not
Exactly.
necessarily. No, not necessarily. So with all of works, you can create instances. EC2 instances. There are many ways to create instances, right? The console is not the only way. So you can use other automation. Let me show you something. One moment. So automation is a configuration management service that provides managed instances of Chef and Puppet at automation platforms. Automation platforms that allow you to use code to automate the configuration of your servers. It uses code, but not necessarily that. To create a server, you don't need codes, okay? UpWorks lets you use Chef and Puppet. Those are instances of UpWorks to automate how servers are configured, deployed, and managed across your EC2 instances and on-premises compute environments. UpWorks has 3 offerings: AWS UpWorks for Chef Automate, AWS UpWorks for Puppet and Enterprise, and AWS for UpWorks Stacks. Okay, don't worry about this. We don't need to know UpWorks. Only if you are going for the developer or the DevOps certifications, then you're gonna see this guy for automation. Now, guys, something that you need to understand, okay? And this may be bad news, but at the same time is good news because I'm telling you, okay? AWS likes to play with test takers. You know what I mean? Now, why? In class, there's a handful of services that we're not gonna see, okay? In class for this cloud practitioner certification, but you're gonna see a big portion of services that we are not gonna see in the exam. Look, it's something impressive. If I don't need to know about this, why are you testing me with that? Okay, now, like I said before, I watched the movie already. You're watching it, right? So take my advice. I'm gonna give you a list of services that you need to work on, at least to have an idea what they do, okay? So that you're not surprised in the exam. You know what I mean? So you can disregard. They're not gonna be answers in the exam, right? Those services are not gonna be the answer, but they're gonna be as the choices, right? They're gonna be in the choices. And you may be, if you don't know the services, wow, I don't know what you're asking me. What if it is this service? But I never saw it in class. I never saw it in my, my content in class. What is it? Yes, but if I know what the service does, I can disregard it, right? So what I always tell my students is go over these services, learn at least what they do and what they're for, so that you can disregard them in the exam. Okay? So I'm gonna give you a list of services that we're not gonna see in class. Let's say 95% of the list, we're not gonna see them in class, but you need to understand what they do because they're going to be in the exam. This is my experience and this is my students' experience, what they told me after they took the exam, okay? They saw services that they never saw in class, but with me, they saw it. You know what I'm telling you? You understand what I'm telling you? They never saw before, but in my class, they saw it because I gave you the list. I warned them before the exam and they could answer all the exams. And probably that's one of the reasons why I got 100% pass rate in my class. Okay, so very important. Those services, I'm gonna give you the list so that you can go over one at a time. You still have, today is the 6th, you still have the 23 days before we finish the class and we take the exam. So very important. I want you guys to take the exam before we disconnect from each other. Okay. I want to know how you did. And believe me, from now until the 29th, you still have plenty of time to pass the exam, to learn in order for you to pass the exam. Okay. So what you need to do is take one day at a time, do all the assignments, study every day if you're really serious about passing this exam. Okay. So that was a heads up for you. There will be many services that we're not going to see. For example, OpsWorks is one of them, but we're not going to see in class, but it may be in your exam.
Teacher,
Go ahead.
what is the score needed for passing the exam?
The score is 700 and 700. 700.
Okay.
700.
700.
I think it's 700, right?
It is 700.
700, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the associates, 720. And I think that for the professionals, I think it's 750. Yeah, 700 is 65 questions for 1 hour and a half. Okay. So you basically have like probably, I think it is like 1 minute and 21 or 1 minute 31 seconds per question, something like that.
Okay, and it's completely theoretical, or in half?
Yes. It's this certification is about knowledge and understanding AWS. Basically memorization. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so memory is gonna play a major role here, right? That's why I'm telling you, do not leave anything for the last moment. Do not procrastinate. Take it one day at a time, study every day, so you're gonna be ready at the end. That's the way I do it. I don't let the content to hit me. Hit me. I hit the content. I hit it real quick. I don't wait until the last minute because it's gonna be, so overwhelming that I'm not gonna have time for everything. So it's so much content. It's so much content. So study every day, right? Okay, so there's no charge for inbound data transfer. Data transfer between services within the same region is free. Pay with what you use. Start and stop anytime. No long-term contracts required. The 1 or 3 year contract is not required. You can start with no upfront fees, and you can start with pay as you go. Some services are free, but AWS services used in conjunction with these services are not. So it depends on the service. This is not entirely true, because if I use CloudFormation, and I create a user with CloudFormation, I'm not gonna be charged, because I'm using both a free service here, CloudFormation, and a free service here, right? So if I create a VPC with CloudFormation, I'm not gonna be charged, because both VPC and CloudFormation are free. But if I create an EC2 instance with CloudFormation, then I'm gonna be charged. Okay, good. Any question before we continue with part 2? Any questions?
Nope.
No.
Good. So I have 22 students right now, and only 2 students are answering. How about the rest of the class? Do you have any questions? Sometimes you may feel you may be a little shy and not. There's no wrong question, right? Any question, I consider it a serious question, so I can help you if you need some help.
No question.
Okay, good.
No questions.
Good.
No question.
Okay, there's some students writing something on the chat. Sometimes, like I said before, I don't have time to check the chat. If one of you guys sees something that is important, really important, even though I believe that nothing that is written in the chat is not important. If you see something that really demands my immediate attention, let me know, and I will stop and address that. Okay.
there is one student that his microphone doesn't work.
The microphone doesn't work. Well,
His microphone does not, yeah, microphone does not work.
okay, I believe that that's something local in his or her computer. I don't think that I can do anything about that. What you can do probably is log out and log back in using the same
Well,
link.
he's just bringing it up because you had mentioned that a lot of folks weren't responding, because he just said it right now, like he can still hear. So if he has any questions, you could just put it in the chat and any one of us can either ask it on his behalf or you can read it.
Yeah.
I have one question. Are we going to get this PPT, those via the architect students?
It's on Nearpod. It's on Nearpod. In your cases, you are from the cloud partition, the solutions architect exam. Yeah, I may share. Can anyone share the link of that Nearpod with the other students in this class? Can you please do that for me?
I put it in the chat.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
Mary.
you.
Good. So Anna, see if you can click on that and then if it works for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. So you can take some notes. You can save the notes and then send it to your email
Right.
with the slides. Okay, so we have the on-premises versus the cloud. You know, that's a question being asked by many businesses. What's the difference between these two options and how they are deployed? So the on-premises infrastructure is installed locally on a company's own computers and servers. Now we know that. And there are services that have fixed costs and also known as capital expenses. That was, remember the first training, capital expenses for variable expenses. That was the first benefits of the 6 ones that we saw in class. So these fixed capital expenses, they are associated with, you know, the traditional infrastructure, including facilities, hardware, licenses, and maintenance staff. So scaling up can be expensive and time consuming. So scaling down does not reduce the fixed costs. You know, remember what scaling up, scaling down mean?
Yeah, scaling
Yes.
down is when you need more resources, and scaling in is when you don't.
Scaling down.
No, scaling up and down.
Up
and down.
Power, more power and less
More power.
power.
Correct.
Oh.
So when you have to increase the capacity of your computers, of your servers, that's going to cost you more money, right? So that can be more expensive, right? Now, the cloud infrastructure is purchased from a service provider. In this case, is AWS, who builds and maintains the facilities, hardware, and maintenance staff, right? So a customer pays actually for what is used. So scaling up or down is simple, and the costs are easy to estimate because they depend on service usage only, right? Service usage. There's some services that you can use to calculate your costs every month. You have something called the simple monthly calculator that you can use to evaluate your bill, and also in the billing section of your free account, you can see how much you're paying and a projected cost for the next month. So there's another service called Cost Explorer that you can know. They can give you some suggestions of how much you're paying for a specific service. And also there's another service called Trusted Advisor that can give you some recommendations for cost optimization and you know, things that you can do to reduce the costs of your services and your infrastructure. So as you can see, the difference is huge, right? There's a huge difference between the two scenarios here. AWS cloud is simple. All of this. There's no upfront expense. You pay for what you use. You can improve the time and market and agility. The self and service infrastructure, scale up and down is simple. Now for the traditional, you have costs, you have contracts, you have licenses, you have maintenance, all that. So that's something to consider when you are comparing both scenarios. So what is the total cost of ownership? The TCO, also known as TCO, is the financial estimate to help identify direct and indirect costs of a system. Remember what I said? I think I said it in this class on Monday. When you buy a car, the total cost of that car it's not going to be only what you pay the dealership or what you pay monthly. You also have to consider the cost of insurance, the cost of repair. So that's going to be the total cost of ownership. Your car, entire cost of ownership, that cost that makes you the owner of the car includes direct and indirect charges, costs. So that's with this. So AWS has to know how much it's going to cost me to move to the cloud, and all the indirect and direct cost of that particular platform, how much I'm going to pay for that. So why do you use EC2? EC2, TCO is to compare the cost of running an entire infrastructure environment or specific workload on premises versus AWS. So this tool comes handy to demonstrate business owners that it's a wise idea, it's very smart to move to the cloud. So like I said before, a business consultant has to be able to convince that business owner, and cost is a major factor when moving to the cloud, because people, they want to save money. And later we're going to see a use case of a company that saved thousands of dollars by moving to the cloud. So you have to budget. When the TCO helps you budget and build the business case for moving to the cloud. Okay, so you're going to have a picture of how much you may spend when you move to the cloud. Why do I say you may? Because when you move to the cloud, you may tweak your services, you may tweak your infrastructure, and that's going to incur more charges. But you can have a picture of your current situation, all the infrastructure that you have right now in your on-premises headquarters, your on-premises office, how much that exact model, that exact infrastructure is going to cost on AWS. So that's the main purpose of the TCO. Okay, student, like I said before, I want to respect your time, and our break is 10:25, right? For 10 minutes. So it's 10:26 right now. Let's have a 10 minutes break, and I will see you back at 10:37.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So students, we're back here. It's 10:37. So we continue with the class. But before I continue, do you have any questions?
No.
No questions? All good?
No questions from me. This is John Paul.
Okay,
No questions?
thank you. Appreciate that.
This is Maria, no questions?
You. Is everybody here? I mean, can everybody hear?
Yes.
Yes.
We're good.
Yes.
Here's some complaints on the chat that some students cannot hear. It was all muted. I was on mute, so probably that was a reason why you couldn't hear anything. Good. So, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So we continue. We were saying that the total cost of ownership is the financial estimate to help identify direct and indirect costs of a system, and then we saw why we used the cost of ownership.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Ciara. Everybody else is seeing the slides and not the grid of the class.
No.
Okay, I'm not seeing it, but it's okay. I can follow along separately from Nearpod. I don't know.
So you
Yeah,
cannot see the screen?
I can see. I'm seeing the grid of everybody in the class.
yeah, but not your screen, not your
Yeah,
slides.
I'm not
Not your
seeing-
screen. Not your
Yeah,
screen.
not your slides. Yeah.
Before the break, I was be able to see the screen, but right now I can't.
You can? Okay, let me check something here. One moment.
Coming. Coming.
Okay, now yes.
Good.
Okay,
Perfect. Thank you.
you're welcome. I don't know what happened here. Okay, so the TCO considerations that you see when you want to migrate to the cloud. For example, you're gonna have some server costs, storage costs, network costs, IT labor costs. That's what happens in on-premises, right? You have to pay for hardware, server, rack chassis, PDUs, store switches, all this equipment that you need for for the networking component of your your on-premises. You need software, virtualization licenses, and maintenance of those softwares and operating systems, all that. For the storage, you're gonna have hardware, storage disks, switches, storage admin costs. In the network part, you're gonna have hardware, you're gonna have local area network switches, load balancers, bandwidth costs, network admin costs, and then you have to pay the IT people that are gonna maintain those servers, right? So you need space, you need power, you need cooling, for the facility. All this, you need all this to maintain that. So imagine how much money you're gonna be saving if you migrate to the cloud, because this is something that for sure this is something that is part of the capital expenses of your company, right? So when you are in the cloud, nothing of this happens. Okay, none of this happens. So this is a comparison of on-premises versus all in cloud, right? So you could save 96% a year by moving your infrastructure to AWS. You know what? Have you thought about this? 96%. That's a huge percentage. That's almost 100, right? It's almost 100. So a 3-year total savings would be $159,913 that you will be saving. Okay, this is a huge company, right? Now, a 3-year total cost of ownership. This is the case that you are going with a 3-year contract. So the servers are going to cost you $91,942. It's going to cost you $2,547 in the cloud. Storage, $67,840 on premises, $4,963. Network it has a cost on premises, $7,660. Is free in the cloud. IT labor it's and on premises. You may not pay for anything. It depends, and it's free in AWS. So look at the total cost. You are saving almost $160,000 in a 3-year contract. Okay, to be specific, is what it says above, 159,933. Okay, similar, approximately that. So that's how much you can save. So look at the graph to the right hand side. The different colors: blue for server, orange for storage, gray for network, yellow for IT labor, and light blue for total. You see how much money you spend on premises and how much money you're going to spend on AWS. So total cost of ownership is a very, very, very useful tool for people, businesses, to understand how much money they will save on a specific period of time. Okay, and in this case, it's a huge savings. So that's very important. Okay, that's very important. Now we also have this guy, AWS Simple Monthly Calculator. So what do we use this guy for? We use it for estimating monthly costs. Okay, Simple Monthly Calculator, it estimates your bill once you are in the cloud. Total cost of ownership, it estimates your cost before you migrate to the cloud. So that's the difference, right? Now, estimate monthly costs, identify opportunities to reduce monthly costs, so it gives you some recommendations. And you're going to use templates to compare services and deployment models. It's going to give you some templates of how your deployment is going to be. Now, this is the link. I don't know if your Nearpod it's clickable. It's clickable, but if you click on it, you're going to get to a page that tells you the note that you see here in your PowerPoint. It says on June 30th, this is something that I added because I tested the Simple Monthly Calculator. On June 30th, AWS will no longer support the AWS Simple Monthly Calculator, and all users will be redirected to the AWS Pricing Calculator instead. It's very similar, but for now, people are using the Simple Monthly Calculator up to all until June 30th. So if you take the exam before June 30th and you see this, you already know that AWS will no longer support this after that date. Okay, so this guy helps you estimate the monthly cost, opportunity for reduction of costs, and he uses templates to compare services and deployment models. Be aware that the usage of Simple Monthly Calculator can be your test, can be your exam. So record this in your hard drive, in your mind hard drive. This is very important. The 3 points, because that's what tells Simple Monthly Calculator apart from TCO. Okay. Now, when do we use TCO? To estimate cost savings, use detailed reports, modify assumptions. So TCO is before you migrate to the cloud. Simple Monthly Calculator is used for you when you are in the cloud. Okay. So this is you can click on this link. If it is clickable for you, I don't think it's clickable right now. It is not for me. AWS total cost of ownership, you see here on premises versus AWS summary. You could save 47% a year by moving your infrastructure to AWS. Your 3-year total savings would be $2,738,450. You know, too good to be true, right? How can you save $2 million in 3 years? Well, that's what the monthly, that's what the total month cost of ownership is telling you. right? So it's all about numbers. Eh? It's all about money, cost. When you see this, will you have any doubts about migrating to? Will you hesitate about migrating to the cloud? When you know that your savings $2,738 and $4,450, I believe that you're not gonna think it over. You're gonna think twice about it.
I just put the link of the simple monthly calculator on the chat
Thank
for
you.
those of you that might be interested.
Thank you, Maria. So we have some hard benefits that include reduced spending on compute, storage, networking, and security. You have to avoid hardware and software purchases, a reduction in operational cost, backup and disaster recovery, and a reduction in operational personnel. The cloud total cost of ownership defines what you're going to spend on the technology after adopting the AWS framework. Or it would tell you what it costs to run the engine, right? So typically a TCO analysis looks at the as-is on-premises infrastructure and compares to the cost of the to-be infrastructure state in the cloud, right? As is, it is now, and as it will be on the cloud. Okay. So while this is easy to calculate, it may only provide a narrow view of the total financial impact of moving to the cloud. So you may incur some charges once you are in the cloud, but it's like an estimate, right? It's not it's not written on stone what you're gonna pay, but it's a tool that is used to compare what you will pay after you move to the cloud, after you adopt the AWS framework. So return on investment is very important, an ROI. So analysis of the ROI is important because it can be used to determine the value generated while taking some spending and savings into consideration. So this analysis starts by identifying the hard benefits in terms of direct and visible cost reductions and efficiency improvements. So we have some soft benefits too. There are the value points that are challenging to accurately quantify, but can be more valuable than the hard savings. So this includes reuse the service and applications that allow you to define and redefine solutions using the same cloud, blah, 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 all of this that you see here. So we have hard benefits and soft benefits that need to be considered when moving to the cloud, right? Now,
going through, oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So going through the slides, I started to wonder, what has this business model done to hardware server providers in terms of business and profits, right?
Okay.
Because now, do you know that information?
I'm not sure about that information, but remember, you are saving money. You're saving money on hardware, right? You're saving money on that, but AWS is spending money on that. So AWS has to buy their own servers. Remember, AWS has between 50,000 and 80,000 servers in every data center, right? So they have to spend money on that too. Not everybody is migrating to the cloud. So like I said before, only 20% last year, only 20% of the 500 Fortune companies are on the cloud. Only 20%. You still have 80% that is not on the cloud. So that means saying that is these people that are not in the cloud, they're still paying for hardware. They're still incurring those capital expenses. So I don't think the cloud has already taken over completely. You know, there are people that still want to have their private cloud and not trust a public cloud provider.
Well, there is another area of business which is called edge computing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that might be the next level of, I'm going to call it server allocation. and maybe this edge cloud could be on premises.
Not quite familiar about that.
Okay.
Oscar, you had a question?
Yes, I was going to ask you, Dineski, about. I assume that at some point in time during the course, we will cover as well precisely, that you just said. Why are those 80% of the companies not moving still to the cloud, right? That to me seems super important to understand, what are the nuances in which companies say, apart from privacy, by the way, they might say, oh yeah, cost benefit, regarding the cost reduction in terms of infrastructure and all that stuff, makes sense. But I have another bunch of costs, that are inherited or indirect, that I'm taking, that I'm now needing to bear with this, moving to the cloud, that I'm not willing to do. So as in quotes, used to say, this is too good to be true. Hence, when you are sold something that is too good to be true, you tend to judge much more, what you see, right?
Yeah, but it's not objectives of this exam to know about that particular section of business. Like why there are companies that are not migrating to the cloud. You're talking about the whys, right? The why they're not, right?
Yeah.
That's something that you have to research on your own. Because it's not part of the exam. It's not part of the exam because that's something that it's something very subjective because that's a personal decision that business owners take based on the information that they currently have. And it's just a matter of convincing them if they're convinced or not. So it's the job of the business people in AWS to convince business owners that their best bet is AWS. And of course, they have to present something like this that I'm going to say now. They have to present use cases like this company, Delaware North. Delaware North was originated in 1915, over a century ago, as a peanut and popcorn concessions vendor. Today, it's a major food and hospitality company. Although the company deliberately keeps a low profile, it is a leader in the food service and hospitality industry. I don't know if you know about this company. So Delaware North serves more than 500 million customers annually at more than 200 locations around the world, including venues and diverse as Kennedy Space Center in Florida, London Heathrow Airport, Kings Canyon Resort in Australia, and the Green Bay Packers Lambeau Field in Wisconsin. So this global presence has turned Delaware North into a $3 billion enterprise, like it says in this slide. So let's see what happened to them. So what was the challenge of this company? It has 500 million customers. So they needed to meet the demand to rapidly deploy new solutions. So their traffic was so heavy that they had a challenge. A challenge was posed in front of them. They needed to cope with that demand. So they also needed to constantly upgrade aging equipment. As time goes by, your equipment starts to wear. So you have to pay for maintenance and upgrading and buying new equipment, all that. So that was the challenge that Delaware North had at the moment. So the criteria, the broad solution to handle all workloads. They needed ability to modify processes to improve efficiency at lower cost, eliminate the busy work, patching software, and achieve a positive return on investment ROI. So probably these guys, they were losing some money. So they needed to revert this situation and have some return on investment. So that was the criteria. Now the solution that they found after probably analyzing all of the benefits of moving to the cloud, the solution that they found was they moved its on-premises data center to AWS. So what they needed to do was eliminate 205 servers. So 90% of the servers were eliminated. Okay, 205 servers. They moved nearly all apps to the AWS, and they went into a 3-year contract with reserved instances. Why? Because they saw the challenge. They saw that the demand was high, and they needed to rapidly deploy the new solutions. So that's why they decided to have a contract. It's a predictable pattern that they had, and they did this. Now, maybe you wonder why they didn't move 10% of the servers. Why they didn't eliminate 10% of the servers? Is what I'm telling you that I told you before. This is a hybrid infrastructure. They're not completely trusting AWS, or probably they want to keep some control on their data and equipment. That's why they moved 90%. But still moving, eliminating 205 servers. That's a huge change, right? That's a lot. It's 90% of I mean, out of 100 servers, they moved 90. They eliminated 90, and they kept 10. That's a huge movement.
Excuse me, Professor, I have a question about that. Is it possible, I mean, we obviously don't know the exact setup or scenario, but could a company, in this case, like how they kept back 10% of the servers, that was probably the on-premises hardware, for like set it up in such a way that to act as a backup, so that if for whatever reason there was failure on the AWS side on those servers, that they could still maintain some type of business operation with the 10% of servers that they maintain locally?
You mean in a case of disaster?
Yeah.
In AWS? Well, let me tell you something. That's very unlikely. That's the first thing that I can tell you. I think I asked this question in class, the first day of class. Have you ever seen Netflix down?
No.
Nope.
And if you see it down, it's going to be for seconds.
Yeah.
So Netflix is all in the cloud. It's all in AWS. It was the first company to go all in on AWS, and one of the best practices of any architect in AWS is to create an infrastructure that is highly available. So AWS recommends at least two servers, not one, two servers, and at least two availability zones. When we get to the AWS infrastructure, global infrastructure, you're gonna see that AWS is divided in regions, availability zones, and edge locations. So right now, AWS has like 24 regions around the world. Okay.
Professor, may I say something?
Yes.
So about that prior question, about the 10% retaining the 10% of the servers. If I had to guess, my guess would be that it's probably an executive function, and proprietary information and trade secrets and things like that they probably want to maintain control of.
Yes, sure. Yeah, they want to keep control of some of the inner things that they don't want to share with anyone.
Correct.
It's a hybrid infrastructure. Hybrid.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, Ciara, you were the one that asked, right?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the best practices is to create a highly available, at least one availability zone. An availability zone has one or two data centers, and every data center has at least 50,000 to 80,000 servers. So why do you want to have some redundancy, some resiliency? Because if you lose one server, you still have the other one, right? That's why they recommend starting with two servers and two availability zones at least. So if you go by the best practices of AWS, you will be available all the time, because AWS, apart from that, has disaster recovery techniques and things that they can use for you to be back up and running in no time. Okay, So I think that it's very unlikely to lose your services when you use AWS for a long time. Okay, things happen, because I heard that, I think it was last year or the year before the last, that one of the data centers in Virginia, AWS caught on fire, and then they have to move fast because they were on fire. Something happened. It's a disaster, right? And that's why also AWS has placed availability zones like 50 miles apart from each other, just in case there's like an earthquake in a particular, not an earthquake, like a tornado in a specific area, it may not affect the other availability zone, because that's 50 miles apart.
Yeah.
So I think that moving to the cloud, it's either hybrid or all in. It's a wise decision. I think it's a smart move, because availability it's there, right? So you can design a highly available infrastructure with all the best practices that AWS recommends, and then you're going to be up and running all the time. So did that answer your question?
For startups, it's a blessing, because you can do a startup
Yes.
and scale up or down however you need to.
Yes, you start with the least, with only what you need, and then you start grow. As you grow, you start adding more resources. So there's one service in AWS, Lightsail, that is the one that startups use to start a business in AWS. So we have the case study here, total cost of ownership, Delaware on-premises environment here. So we have the targeted AWS environment with using a three-year reserve instances plus a 3-year reserves. So actually they did some 6 years here, 6 year, because they have a 3-year return instance, but plus a 3-year reserve instances renewal. So if you do 3 years and you do 3 years more, something is working right? Something is working. So they saved a lot of money. This is just a summary of 5 years from 2015, 2019. And it shows you the cash flow, how it flowed. So all the money that is flowing, see here, all the money that you can save when you move to the cloud. So the case study, the total cost of ownership, business goal growth, enhanced 24/7 business operational efficiency. Those when you get the support plan, the business support plan, you get all these benefits. You get resource optimization, robust security compliance, enhanced disaster recovery, increased computing capacity, 1 day to provision new businesses, speed to market, just minutes to push out a service, operational efficiency, continuous cost optimization and reduction. Those are the benefits that you get when you go with the business plan, and those are the benefits, the goals that you can have when you have this. All of this brings results like this. So resources that you could to get you started, you can use this for links for the economic center, the TCO calculator, the simple monthly calculator, and the case studies and research. Some case studies, not only from Delaware North, there are many companies that have decided to move to the cloud, and they're showing the results. And of course, I believe that if they show the results, I think that probably they may or may not be compensated by AWS, because for sure, this is a good scenario that might be one more point to convince business owners. customer testimonials from businesses that have migrated to the cloud, either hybrid or all in. So that's pretty good. So you can use this if you want to go deeper and research a little bit more. You can use these 4 links, and you can have more information about that. So what we saw in this part was TCO is a valuable tool, right? Because it helps you, have to know about your savings before you migrate to the cloud. It gives you a comparison as is in the on-premises and the to be in the cloud. The AWS Simple Monthly Calculator can be used to provide accurate cost estimates once you are in the cloud. The AWS TCO calculator can be used to estimate cost savings. And the TCO calculator gives you a report with 3-year TCO comparison by cost category. So it goes all the way out a 3-year executive reports and assumptions that can be tailored to your business needs. So no matter what your businesses are, AWS has your back.
I have a question, Professor.
Go ahead.
So they make reference, they just say the TCO is a valuable tool, the TCO calculator. Is there a difference between the TCO calculator and the AWS TCO calculator?
No, it's the same thing. It's just sometimes they name it, they just call it AWS TCO. It's from AWS. It's an AWS tool.
Okay.
So it's the same thing.
Okay.
You can call it TCO. You can call it total cost of ownership. You can call it AWS TCO.
Okay.
You can call it AWS total cost of ownership.
Okay.
Whatever you want. Same. Okay. So this is the first round of PowerPoints today. How was it?
Good.
Tiring, exhausting.
No, it was pretty informative. It was really good.
Yeah, the other one is very short because I want to give you a demonstration today how to create a server. And I believe you're gonna like that.
Okay.
I do have, do we have any more on cost? Or is this everything on the?
More on cost when we get to the billing for EC2.
Got it.
For billing for EC2.
So
billing and support. Billing and support is the last module. There's a module for that only.
Got it.
There's only a module for that. Any other questions? So far, so good?
So far, so good.
Boring?
Nope.
Interesting?
Yes.
Yes.
Important?
Yeah.
Very.
All right, let's continue. All right, so this part is the AWS infrastructure overview. Okay. So we have the AWS global infrastructure, AWS service and service category overview. So we're gonna see this. This is a short PowerPoint, very short. Okay. So what we're gonna understand is the AWS global infrastructure and the types of services that are available. We're going to examine the AWS global infrastructure, understand the differences between AWS regions, availability zones, and edge location. Very extremely important to know how the AWS global infrastructure is structured. Very important. Okay. We have these three guys here, regions, availability zones, and edge locations. Okay, very important. And we're gonna know what each one is, right? So global infrastructure. Okay, so we spoke about all this before, a little bit about everything, more or less a little bit. We're gonna go into a little bit deeper later, but we were in this section, right? And we came to this section too a little bit. Talk about networking a little bit, storage, compute. Now we're going to talk about the infrastructure, which is regions, availability zone, or AZ. Very important. Sometimes you might see AZ, like it says here, AZs. You may see this, so they're interchangeable sometimes, availability zones or AZs. And edge locations. Okay, data centers. What is a data center? A data center is you may see that in your exam. Okay, let me tell you, a data center is, and they give you four choices, right? So what is a data center? A data center is securely designed. Okay. Like I said before, every availability zone has at least one data center. Okay. It's a location where actual physical data resides. So it is physical data. It's a place that is securely designed. It has servers, physical servers inside. So when we migrate to the cloud, we create a virtual server, but that server has a physical location and is in an AWS data center, right? That is securely designed. So a data center typically has between 50,000 to 80,000 physical servers. So you may see, this is a picture, more or less a picture, but you might get to one of the data centers and you see servers and servers and servers and servers and servers, like different lights, red lights, green lights, all of that in that particular section. So that is securely designed. It has security in place. There are people taking care of that, probably security guards and everything. To enter a data center, you have to have some security clearance. It's a safe place, right? It's a safe place because all the data resides there, right? The data is never cold. It's always online, right? The data centers are always online, never cold unless there's a disaster and someone puts a bomb or something blows away the place. I don't know, but as long as everything is fine, you can see that everything it's in place. Let me give you. I think it's probably health that. AWS, that Amazon, I think the Amazon.com. Let me see here. No, I don't think.
What is ODM?
Where is that?
AWS custom network equipment, multi ODM sourced.
So
Maria, you want to say?
I know the answer. It's original design manufacturer. Okay. So I think what it means is they have multiple vendors that provide their services. They don't have a single source.
Original design what?
Original design manufacturer.
Manufacturer, thank you.
So that will be your Dell's, probably your right. Microsoft,
Toshiba, all that. That's why there's still companies. That's why there's still companies that are making money selling hardware. Because AWS has to buy their own hardware team because they have centers, right? Now, if you take a look, if you see my screen, can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, this is the, and that's going to be in your exam, right? This is the health dashboard, the health dashboard of AWS.
Could you zoom in, please? Oh, thank you.
So here we have the current status. This is going to tell you in all the continents here, okay, the services, how they're operating right now in AWS.
Oh. Wow.
For example, Alexa for Business, North Virginia, its services operating normally. Let's say Chime here, Amazon Chime, it's operating normally in North America, in the United States and Canada. So here we have CloudFront, which is a global service. It's operating normally in North America. So this is all the services that might affect the AWS infrastructure, okay? So this is called the...
How did you get here?
This is the website, status.aws.amazon, okay?
Oh, it's an open...
Yes, it is. So I'm gonna paste it here. It's on the chat, okay? So this is very important for your exam because they want to compare, they want you to know the difference between the service health dashboard and the personal health dashboard. So the personal, if you click on the personal, you're gonna see here, this is a dashboard that tells you the health of the services that might affect you particularly. Okay, so that's the difference between the health dashboard and the personal health dashboard. The service health dashboard is for the entire AWS infrastructure, for the entire, divided in continents. This one, it's only for you, for your business, right? What might affect your business, okay? So if that happens, you will have to contact AWS and open a ticket and see if they resolve the issue as soon as possible, okay? So you can click here and see all the issues. In my case, for example, this might affect me. So for example, there was a CloudFormation operational issue that happened on the 30th of April at 4:47 p.m. UTC, and it was resolved at 6:11 p.m. UTC the same day. Okay, so this affected me at that time, yeah, right? But it doesn't affect me anymore, right? Because the status is closed, so it means that it was resolved. So here in the personal health dashboard, I can see whatever issue is happening right now that affects my infrastructure as a business, right? So that's the difference between health, service health dashboard and personal health dashboard.
I have a question. It's Ciara. So when, let's say like the CloudFormation operational issue, when it first started at 4:47, that just showed up automatically on the dashboard view section, right? And once it's closed, then it moves to your log.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
That's right. So
did you get an email when this happened? So whoever it's
no, I didn't get an email because I didn't set it up to get an email.
But you can get an email.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, because you know it's all about automation. I don't have to come here and manually check everything one by one. I will get an email when something is not working properly. Okay, but I have to set it up, right? So we continue. Okay, so multi-OD source, you know, the different brands of you know, original design manufacturer, Amazon custom network, protocol stacks. So those are the things that AWS uses. These products, the ODM source products, are designs based on specifications from a second company. The second company then rebrands the products for sale. Okay. Now, regions. What is a region?
Sorry, bear with me a second. Just a quick one. There it says custom network. So is it only about network equipment, the one that is multi-ODM source, or is it about, you know, the servers as well and all the infrastructure?
You can create your own network. You can create your own VPCs, your own subnet, everything. So it's custom. You can have that too. But in a center, they have their own ways to customize the network. Okay, in their data centers. AWS has its own IT guys, networking guys that work on this as well. Okay, so they can have an Amazon custom network protocol stack.
Yeah, my question was, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't explain myself correctly. You know, in terms of network, you know, I may say, you know, in terms of routers, you know, I want Cisco, and I don't like, you know, brand X for whatever the reason. In terms of servers, you know, I love your service, I love your, you know, web services, but, you know, I want to have everything on IBM computers and not on Dell. That's how it is set as well, if I want or not.
Yes, yes.
Okay, good.
Wow.
Okay, so we have a region. An AWS region is a geographical area. This is a key word. You see in blue? That's a key word. Geographical area. That's an AWS region. Geographical area. Very important, that keyword. Like I said before, at AWS exams, it's all about keywords. All about keywords. Geographical area. Each region is made up of 2 or more AZs, availability zones. 2 or more. You may have an exam, 1 or more, 3 or more, 4 or more, 2 or more. Very important, 2 or more. Why? Because when you have 2 or more, you are more resilient, more redundant, more highly available. 1, if 1 goes down because of disaster, you are doomed. You have to have 2 so that you can move from one to the other and continue running, right? 2. It has, right now, AWS has 24 regions worldwide. There are like 3 in the works. And you enable and control data replication across regions. So you have to, for some services, you have to enable that manually, okay? So when you create the service, there may be some features that say enable cross data replication across regions. Let's say that you have some data in North Virginia region, and then you want to have some data in Singapore region. So you have to enable that, okay? By default, many services are not enabled to replicate the data across regions. There are some services that, of course, they're more expensive, that automatically replicate the data across regions, okay? So you have to enable that for most services. And the communication between regions, they use AWS backbone network connections infrastructure. So they use the network that AWS has to connect between regions. Okay.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Because you were saying, so I just noticed that, you know, at the PowerPoint that this is 2018. So has much changed?
No, it's updated. Don't worry, I updated it.
Okay.
I foresaw that before.
Okay.
So I've read all these PowerPoints, and when I saw the date, 2018, and I saw all these numbers, I said, this cannot be great. This cannot be. So I updated all this.
Got it.
And all that has to do with numbers, I updated it. Okay.
Good.
The other information continues to be the same.
Okay.
Nothing has changed.
Okay.
Tuniski, just to confirm, data replication and traffic, you know, within regions and within the infrastructure is at no cost for the customer, right? You mentioned before.
Data replication has a cost.
It has a cost.
Yes, because you're making your data available in another region. That has a cost. It's a luxury. It's a luxury. It's like you have a car. It's like you have a car here and you have another car in China. You have to pay for both cars, right?
Okay, I probably misunderstood you before. I thought you were saying before that traffic.
No, it doesn't have to do anything with transfer, data transfer. This is replication. Okay. Replication. You know, like having another set of data exactly the same in another region.
Yeah, no, I know what replication is. Yeah. But I mean,
that costs money. That costs money because you have more available data. You have to pay for that. You're using more resources. You're using other availability zone. You're using other data centers, right? In another region, in another availability zone. So that costs money. Now the transfer in the same region is free, right? A transfer in is always free. Transfer out, you know, that's what's gonna cost you.
Okay.
So here we have some of the regions that AWS has right now. This is some of them, not all of them, but mostly the main ones. The one that was one of the first one was number 6, North Virginia, is the one that by default, when you create a service, is the one that is always there. Okay. By the way, not all services are available in every single region. There are some regions. One of the first things that you have to consider when creating an architecting an infrastructure in AWS, you have to know if the services that you need are available in that region. Okay, and how much they cost, because the cost for one service in North Virginia may not be the same cost of one service in North California. So you have to be aware of that and consider the costs that the service may incur based on the region and the availability zone. Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So if you know, not all the services available in every region, and say, so you can choose a different region you can choose
That's
by
right.
region to get whatever services you want.
That's right. That's right. So you have to, if you don't find the services in Mumbai, for example, you would have to go to, for example, Singapore, that is very close, the closest one, and find if you have the services there. Try to look for the closest region to the one that you are right now, because you have to consider latency. Latency is very important for users' experience. How long it takes for customer to get that response from the server. That's very important. Low latency. Latency is the time that it gets for customer to get a response from the server. Okay, that's called latency. So how many milliseconds it takes for customer to get that? Okay. Now, if you have all the services like Route 53, CloudFront, Edge Location, all that, it's going to cost you money, but your response is going to be spontaneous. It's going to be really quick. But those are services that come with a cost. Okay, we're going to see that later when we get to Route 53. Okay, so there's some available regions coming soon. We have here, there's some governmental regions. Of course, these are regions that are only for government. Okay, some Sweden. There might be some more that are here in this map. So I recommend, I think, you should get a link with the global infrastructure of AWS. So you can take advantage of that and be updated with that information. But you have to know, what you have to know is that AWS has 24 regions, right? And 84 availability zones. Okay, that's very important. Okay, availability zones is made up of one or more data centers. Okay, they're designed for fault isolation. They are isolated from each other, about 50 miles away apart from each other. They're interconnected with other availability zones using high-speed private links. These are private links from AWS only. This is not for the public. This is for the infrastructure of AWS, right? For your infrastructure. You choose your availability zone. If you don't choose it, when you create your resources, AWS will choose it for you, right? And if you want a particular one, you have to choose it. AWS recommends replicating across availability zones for resiliency. Why? You know, if one availability zone is off, is gone, you still have another one, and then you can continue running. So, takeaways of these two guys, three guys, counting considering the data centers. A region has how many availability zones?
2 or more.
2 or more, right? Am I losing you guys?
Nope.
You still here?
No, we're here.
Okay. So an availability region has 2 or more availability zones. An availability zone has how many data centers?
1 or more.
1 or more data centers. And the data centers has how many servers?
80?
No, 80.
No?
No. If it is 80, AWS, I don't want AWS.
Okay.
Between 50,000 and 80,000 servers. Okay, don't forget that. Okay. Regions.
Repeat that.
Regions, we have 24 regions. Every region has 2 or more availability zones. Every availability zone has 1 or more data centers. Every data center has 50,000 and 80,000 servers, between 50,000 and 80,000 servers. Okay, just remember that. Okay, I hope you're taking notes while while I'm talking, taking notes in your pod.
Okay, so there are 24 regions.
Yes.
Each region has 84 available zones, right?
Okay, region 24.
Uh-huh.
Availability zone 84.
And
right?
each region has two or
Each-
more availability zones.
2 or more availability zones, and every availability zone has 1 or more
One-
data centers.
And each data center has between 50 and 80 servers.
1,000.
Sorry, yes. I put K on my
Yeah.
notes.
1,000. Okay, so edge locations. Okay, edge location, it's a cache location. You know, cache for saving information that is frequently accessed. So what service uses this edge location? CloudFront is right there in the point number 3. Amazon CloudFront. Amazon CloudFront is a content delivery network. It's global. It's a global server. It is costly, okay, but highly efficient. So what happens with CloudFront? When customers, they try to get the information from an S3 bucket, right? They get a file from the S3 bucket or specific video or a specific image or any static website, okay? What happens? S3 is used with CloudFront. S3 is a storage service, but you can host. If you didn't know, you can host a static website with S3. I'm gonna demonstrate that to you when we get to storage and all that. You can host a static website with S3. Okay. Now, when I says S3 for the first time, I go to CloudFront. CloudFront goes to S3, gets the information from there, and it puts the information in an edge location, right? Now, when the customer requests the same information again, guess what the information is going to be requested from? From S3? No, it's going to be taken from the edge location.
Mm-hmm.
Because that there are 205 edge locations in the world. So CloudFront uses the edge locations to have low latency. So you're gonna get that information from there, and of course it has a time to live. So you can set the expiration there. If the if the information, the data becomes stale, no one is accessing it. So you put an expiration date and eliminate it because no one is accessing the data anymore, right? Or it's not frequently accessed as before. So what CloudFront does, it puts information in the edge location, so you don't have to go to the S3 bucket as the origin, and you can save a lot of trips to the S3, and the information as it is cached is going to be quick. Have you ever seen in your computer when you access a particular resource in your computer, it's super fast?
Yes.
Because it's in RAM. It's in
Cached.
RAM. It's cached in memory, right? Same, the edge location, what it does, it uses the content that is frequently used. So that's where users access the AWS services. And CloudFront is like the best friend of edge locations. They use that. It uses that. So
I wonder if this is what, I'm sorry.
Yes.
If this is what Netflix uses for serving their content, right? Because
it is
so darn quick.
It is. CloudFront is a global service. And if you want to have an amazing user experience and you are a business that make millions and millions of dollars, you better get CloudFront. You better get it because you have customers around the world, in the entire world. Netflix, I mean, how many people use Netflix? Tons of people.
Yeah.
You know, million, probably billions of people, right? For sure, Netflix is using CloudFront. For sure. Remember, Netflix what was I mean, if you're a small business, CloudFront is not recommended because it's pricey, right? It's pricey, and probably you're not global yet. I mean, global if you're in AWS, you're global, but you're not. Your offices are not spread out globally. Okay, so One moment. So it's a global network of 216 points of presence, 205 edge locations, and 11 regional edge caches. Edge caches is the where the infrequently accessed information is stored. That's the meaning of the edge caches. Okay, so all of this is specifically used with Amazon CloudFront and to deliver content to end users with reduced latency. Latency is crucial. It's crucial for customers. Okay, so if you want to know more about AWS Global Infrastructure, there's a link there at the bottom of the screen that you can use and take a look at that. Okay. The amount of edge locations is not so important. Just remember 205, but you have to know that edge locations is used by CloudFront for end users to access the information of the AWS services. Okay, very important. Okay, so the features of infrastructure, AWS infrastructure is elastic, scalable, and scalable. So we have the dynamic adoption of capacity. You know, if your demand is high, you know, it dynamically adjusts to that. Scalable infrastructure adapts to accommodate growth. If it grows, you know, more and more. So elastic and scalable is fault tolerant. Fault tolerance is one of the keys for high availability. Okay, you have to be able to continue operating properly in the presence of a failure. Okay, in the presence of a failure. That's why here in this graphic we have how many availability zones? We have 3. Right, 3. If one goes down, what happens? The other ones will take over. Right. So, and this 3 availability zone, this infrastructure, you have tons of redundancy of the components. Whatever data centers is in one, you can have this replication. You know, by the way, this data is most likely to be exact in the 3 availability zones because you are replicating the data, right? So if one availability zone suffers, the other 2 will take over and everything stays like nothing happened, right? It's the same content being delivered to the customers, exactly the same, because you enable replication before you just came up with the idea of or just deploy this infrastructure. So high availability, high level of operational performance, minimize downtime. The downtime is the time when the services are down, that time when you have services, it's not operating. So you can minimize downtime. Of course, if one availability goes down, availability zone goes down, it's gonna take some time. It has downtime because there's a process that the other 2 they have to take over, right? So it has a downtime, but it's minimized, right? It's real quick, but it's much better than if you don't have anything. If you have only one AZ and you go down, it's gone, right? So it always has downtime, but it's minimized. And of course, this is automated. There's no human intervention. This is all automated, right? But you can set that up in your infrastructure for this to happen automatically when there's a disaster. Okay. Stretch your arms, you know, breathe a little bit. It's been a long morning, huh? Okay, so foundational services, we have these guys here. We're going to speak about it later. Okay. So we have the compute, storage, database, security, identity, compliance, networking, and content. We're going to see all this one by one when we get to the module that covers that. Okay, so the review. Examine the AWS global infrastructure to understand data centers, regions, availability zones, edge locations, And before we finish this PowerPoint, how many edge locations in the world?
84?
No,
206.
No.
Actually, 216, 206,
205,
205. There you go. One less.
right here.
There's
Okay,
216 points of presence.
260.
that's right.
205 edge
260.
locations and 11 regional edge caches.
And in 84 cities across 42 countries. Very good.
There you
very
go.
good.
I knew it
So
was an
what
84
what is the
somewhere.
what is a region? What's the key word? What is a region? Come on, guys.
Geographical location.
It's a
Geographical location.
geographical area. That's right.
Area location.
What is the best practice? What is recommended by AWS? How many availability zones should you have in every region?
2?
At least two.
At least
At
two.
least two.
At least
more.
two.
Very good, very good. How many data centers are in an availability zone?
At least one.
At least two.
Okay, one or more. One or
One
more.
or more.
Yeah, one more.
Yeah. How many servers in a data center?
50 to 80,000.
50 to 80.
Very good. very
3,000.
good. How many people work in a data center?
God.
A lot.
Hundreds of
A lot of people. I love people.
How much
Enough.
do they make? How much do they make per hour?
I don't know.
$5.
Good question.
How much do they make per hour?
I have no
About
idea.
$45 an hour.
Fortunately, that's not content for the exam. I don't know. I have no idea. We have to find that out. Good.
So I do actually have a couple questions. I missed the first session. So who is actually putting on this course? I mean, I know it's being offered by Miami-Dade free, but I'm kind of wondering, like, what is the rationale behind that?
AWS Academy.
Okay, AWS Academy, and they're doing it because
It's an academy.
okay, so
They have a portion of the business is to teach people, to train people.
okay, okay, and
Is that-
So is this, sorry.
It's
Go
a
ahead.
school. They have a school too.
yeah, but how does that benefit them? Like, what are they? I mean, apart from teaching, what are they like?
Okay.
What's the angle?
Okay, if you're a business,
You may become a consultant. in
and
the
you
future.
train your employees,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's gonna be easier for you guys to move to the cloud, right?
Yeah.
Right.
In your case, for example, if you get a certification,
Yes.
they can have one more employee. Someone that is
Perfect.
certified.
Okay, so they are looking to
expand, to
hire
grow.
people. Okay, so that's it. So they're training to hire. Is that it?
Yeah, for people to be more knowledgeable of the cloud. Not exactly to hire. That's not the
Not
only
to hire.
the only objective is for people to know about their own platform, for the
Mhm.
AWS platform. You know?
This is Ciara. If I can add my 2 cents, because my background is in product marketing. What I see this as is it's a different way to reach and expand I think they're trying to take an out of market approach to building product knowledge about their offering in an indirect way, so that it not only educates the public or anybody that's interested, but it's an inadvertent way so that as we go back to our respective businesses or our professions, and if we're in a position where we can influence technology decisions because we're better educated about this offering, we would become indirect salespeople or marketing people
makes sense,
for their
yes.
product without them actually having to spend marketing dollars.
That's right. So in the case of Miami-Dade College, which is using AWS Academy, in the case of Miami-Dade College, this course is intended for people that have some free time right now.
Mhm.
You know, during this crisis, coronavirus,
Yeah.
and they're facilitating these classes for people that are not working right now, and for them to have more resources and to be equipped more to find a job.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
mainly the objective
Yes.
of Miami-Dade College.
Yes.
AWS Academy has
Yeah.
different ways of educating people, either for to become an expert in a specific area or to find a job. But
Mhm.
Miami Dade College sole purpose is
Mhm.
to help people find a job.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Got
Okay.
it.
So guys, if you have your console, we have still have 13 minutes. If you have a console, your AWS account, I'm going to ask you to go there and please log in.
I don't remember the link. What was it again now?
Let me know. I think you can give me a thumbs up. I think that down in your screen, there's like a reaction thing. You can give me a thumbs up when you are there.
I don't see
Yeah,
that.
I'm here.
Good, good.
Okay.
I don't see the thumbs up, but I'm here.
Me neither. I only see.
There
Exactly.
should be a reaction feature.
Yeah, it's like the last button on the bottom little like bar.
Yeah.
I don't see that. But I don't have the window open all the way, so.
Okay, so
Oh, reaction.
All right, are you there? So let's just type EC2, right? EC2, or you can simply see it here. It's right here on the compute because EC2 is a compute service. Okay.
EC2.
Remember, you are charged for compute, storage, and outbound transfer. Are you going to be charged for EC2?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it's a compute service.
Of course.
Are you going to be charged if you stopped your EC2 server?
I think no.
No. If it is stopped or terminated, you're not going to be charged. If it is running, yes. Okay. But now you have 750 hours for free. Okay, in your free account. So we click here, and then
Hold on. I have
Hey,
two
I'm sorry, I'm just
EC2s.
logged in. I don't see where you are. I don't see. Okay.
Okay,
I see
here-
EC2 and I see EC2 image builder.
oh, where's that?
I don't see anything like that.
Okay, wait,
So
wait.
under services, under services, when I
Type
click
EC2,
on, when I do the search bar,
the first
I
one.
wrote EC2 and it shows up too.
That's the first one, EC2 only.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, well, I'm not even seeing
I'm
anything
lost. I
like
don't even
that.
know how you guys are there.
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, let me log out. Okay, let me log out. So you go to your Amazon, AWS,
AWSamazon.com.
Amazon.com, right?
Yeah.
Okay, once you're there, you go
Yeah.
here, this green, orange button here, sign into console, right?
Sign into console.
You're gonna use your root user, okay? That's
Yeah, I
the
did that.
email that you created, right?
Yes, yes,
Then next, and then use the password. If you have some cache in your memory,
yes,
the browser is gonna
Yes.
have it. So once you're there, you log in,
yes.
okay?
It says I'm on AWS Marketplace.
Yes.
Wow.
So here,
Yeah.
you're gonna type EC2, right? It could be all
Where?
lowercase, it doesn't matter, still recognizes it.
Type it where?
Here on
Click
service,
on
you
services.
click on service, right? You see here services here in the menu bar, services, left-hand side. Are you watching? Are you seeing my screen?
Let me just look at
Yes.
your screen again. Hold on.
Okay, I recommend dividing the screen into two.
Yeah, I'm not on the management console though.
It's okay. Still click on services.
I don't see services. I
Okay.
see products. I see products, offers, assets, reports, marketing, support.
Okay, you
Partners
are in
and
the wrong
something.
place.
Are you logged in?
I am logged in. It says hello MDC Cloud Practitioner. Yeah, I'm logged in.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess you looked up the wrong thing. Maybe try looking up AWS Management Console.
You are in
But you are,
you
Martin,
should-
I think you are not logged in, as your user. It should say, your username, over there, not a generic MDC cloud practitioner.
Okay, question for you,
Yeah.
Martina. Do you create
Thinks I'm a seller.
Do you create an AWS account?
Yeah, I did. From the link that you sent us, and I chose my name and everything. It tells me that I'm logged into AWS Management, AWS Marketplace Management Portal. Don't ask me why.
Okay, probably, let me see here. Okay. Let me see one moment. Are you here?
I'm
Are you
here. Yeah, I'm here.
No. Martina, you see my screen? Are you here by any chance?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you are in the wrong place.
Yeah. How did I end up there?
So I'm gonna ask you to go to services up here.
At
Service.
the top right, left, I mean.
Top left.
I don't see anywhere on my screen that says services, but I'm gonna look. Let me see.
Okay. I can you can watch me. We can see that later, you and me. Okay, so I'm gonna type type EC2 instance. So we're gonna come here and what it says launch instance. You see here? You see it? The orange button here? Okay, launch an instance. Okay, launch instance. We're gonna launch an instance. Are you here now? You following me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have to choose an AMI. An AMI is a template that contains everything to create an instance, right? So we're gonna choose the first one, Amazon Linux 2 AMI, right? So we're gonna click select, right-hand side, select. Okay?
Okay, so there are two types. Oh, sorry.
Just the way it is. Don't change anything.
Oh, I had a question.
Go ahead.
So you have a 64-bit X86, which is
the one that is by default.
And then the 64-bit ARM. So you can actually do it by processor too.
That's right. That's
wow.
Right. Yes. So we selected, and now we have here all the instance types that we have. This is the family. You see here? That's the family. You know, the more CPU, the more you're gonna pay. This is for scaling up, right? That's the power. You see? Different types of instances, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, we're gonna choose, or just the one that is chosen for you, is the general purpose T2 Micro, which is the one that is included in your free tier, right? So we're gonna continue and click on next, configure instance. Okay. So now here, we're gonna create one instance here. We're gonna leave it in the virtual private cloud, the default one, the one that comes with your account when you create it.
Excuse me, can you zoom in a little bit so I have it side by side, but your text is too small.
Should the number of instances say 0 or 1?
One. It was changed by me, probably by mistake. Okay, so you created one instance, you created one server. You put it in the VPC, the default VPC. If you don't choose a subnet, it's gonna choose it for you, but let's do it here in the first one. If you wanna make it more available, probably you can put it in two subnets. Okay, so we're gonna put it in this one.
Is it okay if we don't have the same subnet choices?
It doesn't matter. Remember, your account is different from mine. Okay, so these values may vary, and I believe they're gonna vary because
they're different.
Okay, so this is to assign every time you stop and restart a server, it's gonna have a different public IP. Okay, so this is gonna enable the auto assign public IP. Okay, that's gonna happen all the time. We don't care about this section here for now. Doesn't matter. Okay, we continue going down.
So Professor, we're creating our own server. Is that what we're doing?
That's right.
Pretty much.
So
All right, okay.
don't change anything here. We don't need to tweak this. Okay.
So at the same time that you're creating the server, you can actually create EM roles as well.
That is
for
correct.
it.
That is correct. You can choose one. In my case, I have this. You're not going to have any because you have a new account, but I have worked with this account for quite a while, so I have the roles already. These are the roles. These are the roles for my entire account, not only for this EC2 instance.
Okay,
right?
so I do need to ask a question because I'm behind. I have found my way to, I'm behind you guys though, and I've selected, one, and I have to choose. But the choices are here. The Amazon Linux.
Yeah, the first one.
What do I choose?
Choose that one, the first one.
Okay.
The first one.
Yes.
Let's do it again.
All right.
Let's do it again here. You go here. Launch the instance, right?
Yeah, I already did that.
Okay.
So I have to choose. So do I choose the first one, the Amazon Linux 2 AMI?
That's right.
That's the one I choose.
And then here, don't change anything. This is the one that included in the free tier.
Okay, so because I'm not looking at your screen, I'm looking at my screen.
Okay, so we go to the configure the instance details section. So everything stays the same. You're gonna put this. This is optional. It will put it in your in the default subnet if you choose one. Now here, you go all the way down when it says user data. See here, users data. I want you to paste what I'm going to Slack. What I want to put in okay, in the chat. Just give me 1 second.
Oh, user data. Okay.
What do I choose for instance type?
And nothing. Leave it the way it is.
Leave it the way it is.
Yeah. So
and
then you go to the details.
Next, configure instance details.
That's when we are now.
Okay,
yes.
Good.
So you go all the way down where it says user data. So I'm gonna put the script. Okay? This is a script that you need to paste there.
Oh, you're gonna put that in the chat. Okay.
You put it here.
Chat or Slack? In the chat.
In the chat of the Slack or
in the chat. In the chat.
Of Zoom.
And what is the purpose for that script, teacher?
I will explain. I will explain now.
Okay.
All right.
So we're gonna put it in the optional.
Yes.
In the user data. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna put it on the Slack too, just in case.
All right. Ending with index HTML.
Yes. Okay. This is what people, what it is called a bootstrap script. Okay. What it does is it's written in Bash. If you know Linux, you know this. Yum is a package manager to install packages, right? So we're telling Bash, I want you to first, before you do anything, I want you to update my Bash. Okay, I want you to put every update here. Okay, update it before anything. So this option -y, what it tells you is, for every question asking me yes or no, say yes. So the process is gonna happen real quick, and I don't have to respond anything manually. It's gonna tell yes, 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 yes to everything. Right?
So did we do anything else on this page before we got to that section?
Only change the subnet. Select the subnet.
Subnet to what?
Yeah, anything you want.
Anything.
Okay. So, yeah, it could be any subnet.
Okay.
So here we're telling Bash, I want you to install HTTPD. This is Apache. Apache is a web server. Okay, it's a web server to display some HTML content, some content for a website. Okay. Now we're saying yes. This say yes to everything. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Yes. So we're using the system CTL to start the server. Okay. We're telling Bash, start the server. Okay, this server that we're installing, and then we're telling again, enable it. Okay, start and enable it, so it can be on all the time. Even if our server stops, you can put it. You can restart the server, and still this Apache server will continue running. Okay. Now, echo is a Linux. It's a Linux command to print something. So what we're doing here, we're creating. Are you familiar with HTML?
Yes,
A little
You
bit.
guys
from
familiar with
a
HTML?
long time ago.
Okay, so we're telling Bash, whatever prints out from this, using an H1 tag in HTML, which is a heading.
It's a
tag,
heading
heading.
web.
Okay,
Heading web.
whatever you print here, I want you redirected. This is redirector. I want you to put it in this file that is inside this folder. That is inside this this folder. I'm sorry, this folder that is inside this folder. So it's inside folders, right? So inside var, you're gonna find a folder called www. Inside www, you're gonna find a folder called HTML. And inside HTML, you're gonna see a file with an extension HTML named index.html. Okay, that's what it says. Redirect all this print to this file. And then Apache, when it runs, is gonna pick this file and print it in the screen. Like a web server, like a website. Okay? Let's make a tweak here. Let's just, instead of putting the variable, let's put your name.
You mean instead of host name, put our name?
Yeah, just put this is the word server from your name.
Okay, got it.
And then let's put another tag that says, another tag, and let's put H2 and say, what do you think? Close the tag using a forward slash.
I can't see.
And that's
Can't
it.
see a screen.
So basically the same as this one.
Oh.
Basically the same as this one, but instead of being H1, it's H2.
Can you copy that and put it in the chat, because I can't see it.
Why not?
Just make sure to replace the professor's name with yours.
I understand. I used to write HTML a long time ago. Got it. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the higher the number, the smaller the heading, right? H1 is going to be bigger than H2. H3 is going to be smaller than H2, right? So now we can go ahead and add storage. Next step, add storage.
Excuse me, can you repeat the network part? VPC create, I lost.
What? Sorry?
The network part. Network submit, auto-assign public IP.
This is to assign a public IP every time you stop and start your EC2 instance. It will assign a new IP address. So you will need a static IP address if you want to keep the same IP all the time. Okay. Amazon has a solution for that. It's called Elastic IP. It's like a static IP that will remain there even if you stop the EC2 instance. But every time that you stop the EC2 instance, if you don't have an Elastic IP, it will automatically assign a new one. That's something that happens by default. I don't know why this is not. Guys, if you feel like you have to go, you can go. Okay.
Could you go down to the user data once more, please? And make it bigger if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, I have one. Okay. I selected. I put it in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, so we next add storage. We're not gonna do anything. You just keep it the same with this. Just add tags. Next. Don't do anything. Right? Next. And then here, we're gonna create a new security group. This is the one that's gonna open port 80 for the browser to have access from the internet, right?
Oh,
Port 80. So let's give it a name. Let's say this is my web server security group, right?
We can name it whatever we want, right?
Whatever you want.
If we already have one
you.
that opens port 80, we can just use that one, right?
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
So the description, let's give it the same name, whatever you want to. Okay. And right here, we're gonna add the rule. You see the rule here? Rule.
Yeah.
And then add the rule. And then we're gonna choose, go all the way down what it says HTTPS. You see here?
Yeah.
HTTPS. That's to allow, I'm sorry, HTTP. We don't need HTTPS for that. HTTP, right? That's gonna be port 80. See there?
Yeah.
Port 80. So it's gonna allow both IPv4 and IPv6. Okay? More on networking later. So in the description, say security group allows port 80 for access. Okay, whatever you want. It's going to give you a warning here because you have every single IP address can access your EC2 instance. Okay, that's not good practice. Okay, but for the moment we're doing that. So we're telling that every single IP can access my website. Okay, we're gonna review and launch. Review now. Okay, everything is fine. We launch it. And then when we launch it, we're gonna choose proceed without a key. Proceed without a key. We click on acknowledge because we have to acknowledge that everything is fine. Everything is fine, and I will not be able to connect to the EC2 instance because I don't have a key. But that's for something else. That's for port 22. We're talking about port 80. Port 80 is the internet, is the browser. Port 22 is to access the EC2 using port 22 with SSH. That we're gonna see that later. Don't worry about that. For now, we're gonna browse and find our website using port 80, right? Now we're gonna launch the instance, right? And then here you can view your instances. So now you see that your instance is being launched. Okay.
I'm sorry, where did you click? View instance at the bottom, right?
Yes. Or you can go back to where it says services EC2 instance. And you're gonna see the ones that are here, running instances, you see?
Uh-huh.
And then you're gonna see that is running right now. You see there?
Mm-hmm.
It's running.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So this is your first server. It's running, right? Now,
Awesome.
now, after you have your first server, you have to come down here where it says description. You see description here? You scroll down a little bit, description.
Mm-hmm.
First select it. You have to select it, right? Select it. Here, where it says name, you select it. It's not gonna show anything, any description if you don't select it. You need to select it, right? Once you select it, you see this here that says public IP. See here?
Uh-huh. I see
Yeah.
that.
Okay. You see this here? You can click on this and we'll copy for you. next to the IP address, there's like two little sheets here. You click on that and it's copied, right?
Can we go to that IP? Let's see.
Yes, so you go here, open a new browser, and then you paste it, and there you go.
Oh, wow.
Mine is not showing anything.
Mine
Okay.
isn't showing the what do you think?
Okay, because you didn't add it. I added that. Okay, refresh the page. You should see it there. Now, if I put my IP address, see how we're global in minutes, right? If I put in the chat my IP address, click on it, you will see exactly what I'm seeing.
Well, it's not showing on mine.
Okay, refresh it.
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay, did you select the port 80?
Hold on, it's initializing now. I don't know what it's doing.
I guess the mine say is.
Huh?
Mine says this, the word is missing from mine.
Oh, because you didn't update it. I updated it. Everything that you want to put display here has to be updated in your user data. Okay, I changed my name and I added this H2 thing.
Okay.
If you take a look at the chat, you're gonna see that I put it in the chat before we did anything.
Okay.
So I
did that.
How do you go back and edit it?
Okay, Maria, if you put this exactly as it is here.
Yes.
I did exactly as you posted in the chat.
Did you open port 80?
Yes, I did.
We have to troubleshoot that because it shouldn't happen.
The instance.
Well,
How do you?
Can I go back to the setup for this?
How do you do that? How do you go back to where we can?
Okay. Yes, you can go here. Right click on your instance. Right click.
Right click.
And then when it says instance settings, you can go here where it says view change user data. You see there?
View change user data. Okay.
Okay, it's right here, but you cannot change anything unless you stop your instance. Okay, right now there's nothing you can do. If you try to type, you cannot do anything. Okay, so what you have to do is right click again. So just get out of here, cancel. And close here. One moment, let me cancel it. Cancel. What's going on here? Okay, one moment. Okay, refreshing the page. So I just right click, instance state. See here, instance state. Stop. Stop.
Okay.
You stop it.
Okay.
And then once it's stopped, then you can edit the user data. Okay. Okay, guys, I believe that if you follow that exactly as we did, it should work. It should work because it worked for me and it worked for the other guys. I mean, for most of the guys, it worked.
You went a little bit fast, Professor. You know, you went a little bit fast.
Yeah, because the problem is that
I know it's time. But still, it's we're getting technical, and it was a little bit fast. But anyway.
Yeah, and also you're using one screen at a time. That's a little.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll look at the recording and I'll figure it out.
You can go here, and the user data again. And then you can edit. Now you can edit. You see?
Yeah, and I have exactly what you have, so I don't know what happened.
Okay. I have no idea what's happening in your computer.
Teacher, I have a quick question. In the management console, can I see who is surfing right now in my web server?
For that, you have to use all the services. Okay, you have to use
How
all the services for to, like, for example, VPC flow logs, to be able to see all the IP addresses that are coming to your infrastructure. But that's another service that you have to include.
Okay, what is the name? Repeat again, please.
VPC flow logs.
Okay, thank you.
Professor, I'm still only on the add storage page. You lost me on the add storage page. So what do I do to progress from there?
Where?
I'm on the add storage page.
Oh, don't do anything there. Continue.
Just next. Add tags.
Continue.
I don't have a continue. Is it next add tags?
Yes, next add tags, and then next security groups, right?
And then
there should be a button.
And then configure security group. Yes.
Okay, so add a rule. Add a rule.
Add rule. Yeah. Okay.
And then choose the drop-down list. Choose HTTP.
HTTP. HTTP. Okay, see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that open port 80.
It's got 80. Yeah.
That's right. Just continue. Next.
Next. Okay. Review and launch. It's just review and launch.
Review and launch.
Okay.
I got kicked out of the class.
Okay, and then launch.
Launch. Now proceed without a key. Choose proceed without a key. When you click on launch, it's gonna prompt you with a window, and then it says select the key. Proceed without a key.
Okay.
The drop-down list. Choose the third one.
Launch and proceed without a key. Okay, got it. Proceed without a key pair.
Acknowledge that.
I acknowledge. Okay.
And then launch it. Okay, Brian.
It says your instances are now launching.
I want to let me edit.
View instances.
You have to stop the instance and then run it again. And then when you finish editing, then you start the instance.
How do you stop it?
Okay, you stop it by coming here, right click. You have two ways to do it. Right click, or here in actions, you can come here which says instance and state, and then stop. In my case, it is not enabled because mine is stopped right now. Okay, and then you stop it. Once you stop like mine, it shows here instance state stopped. Then you can come again and right click, or here in actions, and come to instance settings and change the user data here.
Okay, so my instance state is running, and my
now grab the IP address in the description section. Select it first. You have to select it.
Okay, let me see where.
So is the IP before public IP, right?
Yes.
Where is the IP?
Does it take a long time to stop the instance?
No, refresh it. Refresh the page.
Oh, there's the IP. Well,
Ciara, you can
IPv public IP.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, IPv4 public IP. Yes, you can refresh it here, Ciara.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Copy to clipboard and then go to a page and then launch it. Okay, let's see.
I have a question. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, then you save it, and then when you save it.
Yeah, it was fine, except my name isn't right. But what do you think? That's fine.
You see, if you do everything as I did it, it should work.
Yeah.
Then after you change it, you just start it again?
Yes.
How can you
Yeah, if
check?
your server is not running, so it's not going to show anything.
Start. Pending.
Well, Jeffrey, you're right. You can install a lot of things in your user data. It's not only an Apache server. You can install many things there. That's the place where you can install things in the runtime.
IP3. Oh, but then the IP changes.
Yeah, it changes every time you stop and
start
the instance. You have to have an elastic IP if you want to have the same IP. Is it cool?
Yeah, I think so. For me, it is because I've never done this before.
It is beautiful. It's beautiful. AWS is beautiful.
Well, mine is not working. I don't know what I did wrong, but It's not displaying anything.
Yeah, Maria, I recommend.
I can delete and restart it again, but how do you check? I mean, it gave me an IP address and everything.
Yes.
And I know that I put port 80 HTTP and it
Yeah.
said port 80.
Maybe probably your computer's blocking something. Maybe your computer's blocking.
Maybe it's my router.
Yeah, I recommend going back over the slides, or not the slides, the video, or tomorrow. Probably we can connect probably 10 minutes before or 15 minutes before, and I can walk you through the process again.
Or you can double check your batch. Maybe you make a mistake with the slash.
Yeah. Okay, guys, it's been so nice to teach you today. I hope that we can look forward for tomorrow. Friday. I was going to say tomorrow, Friday, and this is exciting. So we're gonna have more to come.
Yes, Professor.
Yes.
Okay. Is there like a step-by-step document that will like?
Maybe videos. You could say how to create an EC2 instance. Videos, but it's so simple. The only complicated part is the bootstrap script that you have to add to the user data. But there are tons of videos. Now, this is gonna be put on YouTube, so you can watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the channel name?
I'm gonna Slack it.
Oh, okay. Because yesterday
it's Tech for Greatness, but I will Slack the specific channel name and link. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, for Friday, if we want help, just log on 15 minutes before.
If you need my help.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And the AWS training, I guess account that we were supposed to set up, that do we need to watch or do those trainings?
Okay, I'll see how you get.
What do you mean?
Like in the quiz, there was the second question was, did you set up an AWS training account?
Yeah, I clicked no because I didn't know.
Yeah. We have to. I mean, the way you do it is in the very first PowerPoint. But
I did it. I set it up. But what I'm asking is, do we have to, in that AWS training account, do we need to take those watch those videos and take those classes?
No. That account is specifically only for your exams.
Okay.
Yeah, but
when you schedule your exams, you have to do it in that account.
Okay.
In the AWS training.
Professor?
Yes.
Just like the other student was saying, I was following all the steps how to create your free AWS account. But while I was reading the slides, it says to
those slides are not updated. Those are no, AWS is constantly changing the UI. The presentation UI, it's always changing. So this is from 2018. So since then, they have changed the UI several times.
Okay.
So you may find some steps that don't match the reality. You know. Okay. So I recommend follow your instance because it's very self-explanatory how to create a free account.
Okay.
And also, you can watch a current video online how to create a free AWS account. It's super simple. It's just a 3-step process, like putting your credit card, debit card, and choosing personal, not professional, and that's it.
So I don't have to worry about that AWS training account right now?
Well, not for now, but we're gonna need it when we schedule the exam for you.
Oh.
So I recommend if you have a personal Amazon account, you can use that one for your AWS.training account. You can use your Amazon account.
Oh, okay, I'll do that.
So you can create your AWS training account with your Amazon personal account. Okay. Okay, guys, it's been a pleasure. I'm amazed that I still have like 18 students online. Wow, man, you don't want to leave. That's amazing. And it's 12:27.
I have a suggestion. When you're doing this on the screens, I'm watching your YouTube video. You may want to zoom in because in the YouTube it's so small. It's difficult to see. Yeah.
Okay, I zoomed in. I don't know why it shows so small. I have no idea.
When you go to the next window, you need to zoom in every time.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. It's like I said on Monday, I'm using a 38-inch monitor, and everything looks small because it's a big monitor. But thank you. I will have that in mind, and anytime that I go to the next page, I will immediately.
What is the name of the YouTube channel again?
Why is this not?
If you click on live on YouTube, there is a down arrow. It gives you the streaming link there.
Yes, you can save it. I already saved mine.
Well, students,
there.
I have to,
Okay. Thank you.
I put it in the chat, the
Thank
YouTube
you.
channel.
I have to.
Professor has to leave.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have to
okay.
leave. I have a class
Thank you.
one now, and I need to have lunch because I have 3 more hours of classes.
Can we
Take care.
stay, or if you leave, we all leave?
Yes. Well, I when I end the meeting, everybody will leave.
Okay.
Okay. The last question, Professor.
Go ahead.
The quiz yesterday, for the questions that we had to type in, like it didn't grade them. Like, do you have to go there like personally to look at them and grade them?
No. I'm not gonna grade. Like I said on Monday, it's not graded. The takeaway, what I want you to take for those exams is the feedback.
Oh, okay.
The feedback, because the way Google has these exams, when it's an open-ended question, there's no way to have an exact match between your answer and my feedback. There's no way to do that. And so grab the feedback is very important, the feedback, but you're gonna have tons of exams. Don't worry about that, where you're gonna have multiple choice questions and you will choose and it will tell you if it is right or wrong, and you get feedback too. Okay?
Okay.
So the exams that the quizzes are based on our PowerPoints. Okay? But get the feedback. That's very important. Feedback is what you need. Okay? So guys, I guess I leave, and I'll see you again on Friday. Take care.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, Professor.
Thank you. Bye-bye.